February 10th, and this is Carpool Weekly here to give you the video game news you need to know about from the week that was. If you like our Carpool content, please give us a like, subscribe. We would greatly appreciate it. I'm Court Lalonde.
And I'm Seth Sturgill.
And our first story of the day is Xbox launched a new immersive game-based learning experience this week called Privacy Prodigy. It's a continuation of the CyberSafe series in the Minecraft Education Edition. In the article on Xbox Wire, it reads, Privacy Prodigy is designed to help players from the ages of 7 to 18 learn how to keep their personal data safe when they're out in the world, whether that's learning how to keep their data protected in the public spaces or where to store that data. Each challenge is constructed to help the students and their parents learn how to make more informed decisions about who should have access to their personal data and why. The single-player experience introduces young people to the concept of areas of trust. They'll develop the ability to identify the different types of information they need to manage and what they can share. Players will also learn strategies for protecting their personal data and ways to mitigate any issues that arise from compromised information. Privacy Prodigy is available in the Minecraft Education Lesson Library. If your students, friends, family, or you play the Bedrock version of Minecraft at home, access Privacy Prodigy for free in the Minecraft Marketplace. So this is available to anybody that has Minecraft in Game Pass. So you can actually go in, download this for your kids. They'll think that they're having fun, but at the same time, they're learning. What do you think, Seth?
That's cool. That's really cool. I didn't know about this. This is a really neat idea. I love that Minecraft has become this sort of thing that we can use to teach kids. I think it's awesome. I'm curious what you think about this from the sort of parents' perspective about this.
For me, this is something I kind of want to get my daughter in. She has never ventured into the world of Minecraft yet. She's been playing Disney Dreamlight Valley, so I think she's actually ready for this. And the thing I love about this education edition is there's other lessons in there. There's not just ones on this. So as she's learning to play the game and having fun, she's also learning how to be more responsible in life. And if they can do more of these things and make learning more fun, I'm all for it. My daughter plays this game called Osmosis, which is on the iPad, which does math, it does reading, it does comprehension skills, and they're by playing games. And I see what she gets out of it and how much she feels better and more confident. And it's doing a lot of skills to help her in the real world. So they're already going to be playing these games, but if they can learn at the same time, I'm all for it. Our next story is San Diego Studio announced a new game for MLB The Show 23 called Storylines. It will focus on a particular player as you have a narrative journey with cutscenes and then play that moment. So what will happen is you're actually going to watch the story as it unfolds and then boom, be flashed right into the moment and play that part. So season 1 of Storylines will be the Negro Leagues. That will be the first of MLB The Show and introduce such players as Brock O'Neill, Hilton Smith, Hank Thompson, John Donaldson, Jackie Robinson, Martin Diego, Brute Foster, and Satchel Paige. I, as one that plays this game a lot, I've really wanted Satchel Paige into this game. He has such a unique delivery, and the show is so good at captivating how that player actually played, so it would actually make it tougher for your opponents. So, to celebrate the historic partnership with the Negro Baseball Museum, MLB The Show and San Diego Studio are happy to announce we'll donate $1 to the Negro League Baseball Museum for every MLB The Show 23 Collector's Edition sold in the U.S., including the Digital Deluxe and the Captain Edition from today through December 31st, 2023. For me, as someone that knows this game sells like gangbusters, this is huge. People might think $1 is not that big of a deal, but I could see this being, close to $100,000 just for this charity, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, I play this game a lot. Seth, have you ever tried out any MLB The Show?
No, I've never played MLB The Show ever in my life. I like baseball fine. I've been to plenty of baseball games. I'm from Chicago. It's a baseball town. I have a huge respect for baseball, but I've never actually played MLB. This is awesome, man. I didn't know about this. This is such a cool idea. It's the perfect time. We're in Black History Month. I think this is really awesome time to sort of talk about this. And yeah, this is a great little story. I love that they're doing this.
Yeah, for me, it's MLB The Show does a great job at talking about the history of the sport. And the fact that this hadn't been part of it, the fan base and the community of the game had actually been asking this for years, because there's the the black history of baseball. It has some dark passes, but it also has a lot of light that needs to be shined on it, and it wasn't actually brought out in the game. So to this, I'm really hoping like players like Jackie Robinson that actually played out in Montreal, which is out here in Canada at one point. I'm hoping that they even capture that moment and go through that point of history. Because a lot of those players had to play up here in Canada first before they were even allowed to play in the United States.
Wow. It's really cool, man. I'm glad. I'm glad to see this. This is a good move. In our next story, UK regulators suggest removing Call of Duty from the Microsoft merger with Activision Blizzard is the only way they're going to approve the deal. Chris Scullion from VGC writes, the UK's Competition and Markets Authority, CMA, has published its provisional conclusion on Microsoft's proposed acquisition of Activision Blizzard King and proposed that Call of Duty be removed from the deal as one possible compromise. After a 5-month investigation, the UK regulator has provisionally found that the deal could reduce competition and result in higher prices, fewer choices, or less innovation for UK gamers. It also believes Call of Duty and other franchises will be important to the growth of cloud streaming, and that Microsoft could remove competition by making these games exclusive to its cloud offering. It means that regulators in both the United States, European Union, and the UK have now published objections to the $69 billion deal. The CMA has suggested that a partial divestiture of Activision Blizzard King would be a solution that it would consider in order to approve the acquisition. This could mean either selling off the part of the business that deals with Call of Duty, selling off the Activision segment of Activision Blizzard King, or selling off both the Activision and the Blizzard segments. The CMA is now inviting responses from interested parties to its list of proposed remedies by February 22nd and responses to its provisional findings by March 1st. The CMA's final report is due by April 26th. Now, Court, this whole deal, this whole merger has been a huge mess. They've been going back and forth through this, trying to get this thing through. What are your thoughts on this one?
My thoughts on this one are I'm just tired of hearing about it. And I'm also kind of from like a gamer's perspective, I'm also laughing about it because as you know, I play on every console. I don't care. And they keep acting like Xbox is just this gladiator that's going to take over the gaming industry when we know that's not how it works. We know that Nintendo has the biggest market segment, and then we know it's PlayStation. But between PlayStation and Xbox, it's, I would say, 80% PlayStation, 20% Xbox. It's such a huge segment, and the fact that this is what you can do is selling it off in segments. Like, what does they propose? Like, Call of Duty goes to PlayStation and Xbox gets the rest of it. It just doesn't make sense. And also, Xbox has come out of the gate saying, "Hey, we're willing to let PlayStation have this." I find this rather complicated and almost annoying at this point. Like, we all know that Bobby Kotick from Activision, he is not a good person. Everything he comes out, he's threatening regulators on the news. Everything about this has just become nauseating at this point. And it seems that I don't know where they're getting their information. It seems like we're having somebody that has nothing to do and knows nothing about the industry trying to make decisions for it. It's like me all of a sudden becoming the commissioner of the NFL when I don't watch it, I don't know anything about it, and I get to decide what happens in it. It just doesn't make sense to me. And from what I'm not legal in any way, and from what I'm understanding is Xbox can still go through with this deal and just, file lawsuits and still make this go through. But from what everybody is saying, it's because PlayStation, Google are fighting it on the other end and saying they don't want it to go through, and they've got more money.
Yeah. It to me is like, man, everybody's real scared of Microsoft having Call of Duty specifically, it seems like. And Call of Duty, we know, is I mean, it's consistently, it's the biggest game on the planet. I get it. But this is like, I honestly didn't think that this was going to be as complicated an issue as it is, and is going to continue to be. I do think this deal will wind up going through eventually. I don't know what sort of resolution they have to come to make that happen, but I am surprised. I'm surprised that there's this much resistance from all these different angles.
I'm also surprised at the fact that PlayStation is doing such a huge marketing flex, you would call, against this, when we all know, like, they literally during this process, had that partnership with Bungie. They're going to want to continue to buying studios. Why they would bring such attention to this and make it so that they're not able to do it? And what's the answer here? We let Tencent buy this another company that's absolutely run by terrible, like it just doesn't make sense to me
Yeah.
when we know everything Xbox has done. And personally, I don't play Call of Duty. I couldn't even care less. So I'm just so weirded out by this. It's just it's a weird hill to die on, and we'll see how it plays through. But at this point, I just want it over with.
Yeah, I think I'm kind of with you. Well, thanks to IGN first, we saw 9 minutes of gameplay this week for Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Court, we're excited about this one. The video shows 9 minutes of gameplay after Cal crash lands on Kobo and must seek help to repair his ship, the Mantis. The wall running is back. We do get to see Cal use his dual lightsabers in combat, which is awesome. You'll see in the bottom left of the screen that you're able to switch between dual sabers or use them as one. The world building looks more alive with much more foliage and NPCs and animals throughout, and you're going to see Cal fight various enemies and use a lot of combos to defeat them using the Force and parry system. I love the gameplay of the Star Wars Jedi series. We get to see more of Cal using the grapple hook and traversing the world, which I hope is going to be something they really tweak and polish over the first game. We also see that the ponchos are not returning, and we get jackets this time, so this is a welcome change. Who needs ponchos, man?
Honestly, I'd never understood that choice. It was just like, what part of the Star Wars lore is like, you know what everybody was like focusing on? The ponchos.
The ponchos. And then we don't get to see the skill tree in this. We do get to see some new enemy types. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, again, as we talked about last week, did see a small delay to April 28th, 2023. Court, are we ready? Are we hyped for some Jedi Survivor?
I am. I was actually had some trepidation at even watching this. And then after I watched it, I was very happy that they didn't show us the skill tree and they didn't show us all these pieces, but they did show us the grappling hook, which we didn't get in the previous game. They showed us a little bit extra. I felt like there was more combos were able to be done, and it didn't give away from the game. Usually what happens is when we get all these things, they end up just giving the game away.
Right.
This looks like, from what I can tell, because Cal seems to have a lot of his powers already, it looks like it's maybe, almost close to halfway through the game where they're showing us. And I hope it isn't. To be totally honest, I hope this is the very beginning of the game and that we start off well with all these powers, because I'm a huge detractor on, I can't stand it when video games characters get amnesia for no reason.
Yeah.
So I am very excited for this game. This has kept me excited, but I think I am going to go dark after this. And that if we see anything else, I'm just not going to watch it.
Yeah. Well, we don't got long to wait, man. Just like 2.5 months or so until the game comes out. Yeah, bring it on. I'm so excited for this one.
Our next story is Stephanie Ikenomu wins the Grammy for Assassin's Creed Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarok score. Assassin's Creed Valhalla Dawn of Ragnarok composer Stephanie Ikenomu won the first ever Grammy Award for video game music on February 5th, claiming the victory in a new category of Best Score Soundtrack for a Video Game and Other Interactive Media. I'll be honest, I didn't know about this. And then when I was looking up news stories, I saw this and I was like, why didn't the video game industry make a point of highlighting this and saying, hey, something in the video game world is becoming even more mainstream, not just The Last of Us, but like getting nominated for a Grammy, which I find very cool. Other nominees include Bear McCready for Call of Duty Vanguard, Richard Jacques for Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, Christopher Tin for Old World, and Ostrid Wintoy for Aliens Fireteam Elite. Weird choice of games, but obviously, I haven't played all of them, but Guardians of the Galaxy had a phenomenal score. So, Seth, did you even know this was a thing?
Yeah, I saw this story crop up, and yeah, we have had other video game soundtracks be nominated for Grammys in other categories, but this is the first time it's got its own category. I'm surprised it's taken this long, and it's also weird. I don't know what the date parameters, because this is a weird batch of games. It seems like it kind of has some bleed over from 2021. I'm not exactly sure what the parameters were here, but this is really cool. It's nice. It's baby steps, right? It's cool to see stuff like this. I would love to see even the soundtracks we're seeing in the indie space are phenomenal, and I would love to see some of that representation at the Grammys. Yeah, this is great. This to me is the first step in something that could again just bring even more recognition to some of these very deserving scores.
Yeah, I found it interesting that in this, universe we live in, or this, zeitgeist that we always talk about with video games, this didn't get a loud enough voice because everybody focuses on the negatives for some reason. And maybe that's just the way society works, but maybe let's try and put up a lot of the positives, because this is huge for the video game industry, that they're getting more recognized and it's becoming more mainstream. I really think with The Last of Us and The Witcher started it, but now with The Last of Us, we're getting more people into video games, and I just find that cool.
I think it's cool too. I'm looking forward to seeing what this category looks like at next year's Grammys. That'll be cool to see.
Legend of Zelda. Who are we kidding?
Gotta be, right? Well, speaking of Zelda, our top story this week has got to be the Nintendo Direct, which I did, of course, prophesize on the Nintendo Drive, #Seth was right. But of course, Nintendo did come out swinging with this one, and there are even a few shadow drops. So let's go over some of these announcements. Of course, the big story from the Direct, the big highlight towards the end of it, was The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. We got a new gameplay trailer for that, a little bit of story, some voiceover. Very, very cool. We got to look at the Collector's Edition, which has got a steelbook, an art book, some pins, and a poster. We got to see the new Link amiibo, and they reconfirmed the release date being May 12th. The game did not get delayed. It is in the US $69.99, which is a $10 increase over the standard sort of price Switch games have had. Nintendo has said, hey, this isn't going to be the standard going forward, but for some games, yeah, we might consider doing a $69.99 and being more in line with what you see on PlayStation and Xbox. So Tears of the Kingdom is the first example of this. It is still eligible for the new game vouchers, which have returned in North American markets. So you can still get that and take advantage of that, save a little bit of money. Zelda is certainly going to be one of the biggest games of the year, certainly the biggest game of the year on Switch. So makes sense. I'm sort of expecting that we get a dedicated Direct for Zelda. If it's a Treehouse Live or something like that, I'm sort of expecting we get that in the near future. So cool to see some Zelda. Happy to see that.
Is that another prediction, Seth?
I could go as far as to say that. We'll make another prediction. Metroid Prime Remastered was shadow dropped on the Nintendo Switch, of course, during this Direct. Poor Jeff Grubb lost his hair for nothing. And yeah, this looks great. This was done in-house by Retro Studios. This was not, ported out or anything like this. This is an actual, honest to goodness, kind of more a remake, it seems, than a remaster from people who have played it. And it looks great. Shadow dropping it. It's only $40, which I think was a smart move. There is going to be a physical version of it on February 22nd. This was awesome to see. And it's a great game. I hope a lot of people are encouraged to check out Metroid Prime Remastered. Really
Viva
good
those
stuff.
shadow drops. Like, honestly, can we just get one every single Direct, from Nintendo to PlayStation to Xbox? Just every time. Just give us a game.
So good. So good. And then the way they opened the show actually was Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4, we got a new trailer for that. We got a release date. It's coming July 21st. We got this look at Ochi, this adorable little dog helper, which is cool. A lot of new characters and mechanics. The game's coming actually sooner than I thought it would. I thought this is going to be kind of a holiday game. So it's cool this is coming in July. I'm not the world's biggest Pikmin fan, but I know that there are a lot of people who are really excited for this one. So I'm happy to see it coming so soon. I know Sean and Lachlan were both very happy about this one, my co-hosts on the Nintendo Drive. So, and then the big one, this was one of the biggest moments of the Direct for me, was the fact that Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games are now available, also shadow dropped, on Nintendo Switch Online. If you're a standard NSO subscriber, you get access to the Game Boy app, and if you have the NSO Plus expansion pack, you get Game Boy Advance games. And the launch lineups are pretty dang good. The Game Boy games that are available at launch are Tetris, Super Mario Land 2 6 Golden Coins, one of the best games ever, Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX, Gargoyle's Quest, Game & Watch Gallery 3, Alone in the Dark The New Nightmare, Metroid 2 Return of Samus, Wario Land 3, and Kirby's Dream Land. And the cool thing about this is that the games can all be played with filters based on how the Game Boy, Game Boy Pocket, and the Game Boy Color looked, and you can play them locally or online with friends. This is awesome. Just get that nostalgic moment with the Game Boy. This makes me very happy. But the Game Boy Advance, this is really cool. The games available at launch for that are The Legend of Zelda: The Minish Cap, Super Mario Advance 4, Super Mario Bros. 3, WarioWare Inc. Mega Micro Games, one of my favorite games of all time, Kurukuru Kururin, which is a localization of a Japanese-only game, which is really cool, Mario Kart Super Circuit, and Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga. These games also support local and online multiplayer with friends. There'll be more games added in the future as well. Nintendo gave a tease for some of these. We're going to be getting the Oracle games, Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, Pokemon TCG, the trading card game, Kirby Tilt and Tumble, Metroid Fusion, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, Fire Emblem, F-Zero Maximum Velocity, and Golden Sun. Oh my gosh, Court, this is so cool.
It's a huge list. And as someone that had a Game Boy originally when it came out, and I thought it was like the craziest technology ever, like Gargoyle's Quest was actually one of my favorite games. Another game that I'm really hoping comes eventually is called Quark. It was this puzzle game where you would just take your character and move like a block or move like a circle so you could get them through the level. But I had a ton of fun with my Game Boy. And at the time, I remember when it even came out, and that's even then when it was all 8-bit, and people complained about the screen. So we all had to get the little lights so we could actually see it in the dark. But other than that, we didn't care that it was black and green, or sorry, I guess gray and green as really what the colors look like. But I had so much fun with it. So I'm really excited to jump back into it. I actually downloaded them all this morning. So I'm excited to give it a try today.
Yeah, these are amazing libraries, and I can't wait to see more. Of course, another big story coming out of this was Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp, finally getting a new release date after being indefinitely delayed due to the ongoing conflict in the Ukraine. That new release date is April 21st. We got to look at the Splatoon 3 expansion pack, which is weird. Has this thing where you can go back to Inkopolis from Splatoon 1 and 2, and then we got a little bit of a look at the, I think it's called Side Dish story DLC that's coming. Kind of odd. We got to look at the Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Expansion Pass Volume 3. We got to look at a new hero. We got more tough challenges in arena modes. And we got our first look at that game's upcoming story content, which looks absolutely amazing. We got Fire Emblem Engage's new DLC, which is going to feature Chrom, Robin, Camilla, and a new story mode. So that's really cool for fans of Fire Emblem Engage. It just came out. Disney Illusion Island, which I think looks great, is coming July 28th. I've been waiting on a release date for this one. This looks awesome. Really excited for this.
I love that there's the 4-player co-op.
Yeah.
At home. So like this for me as a parent, like spoke to me more than anything else that we saw during this direct. Because I let my daughter watch the trailer after. I'm like, check out this game because I love the animation style. And I was like, we can all play this together. So myself, my wife, and my daughter, we can all play this together. So that to me is a huge get for this game. And it's Disney.
Yeah. And it's Disney. Yeah, look, it looks awesome. Sea of Stars got a release date, one of the biggest indie games of the year. That's coming August 29th, and a demo for that was shadow dropped, which was really cool. I've already played the demo. I couldn't wait to jump into it. It's great. It's got music from my favorite composer of all time, Yasunori Mitsuda. It's very, very cool. Speaking of demo shadow drops, he also got a demo shadow drop for Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe and Octopath Traveler 2. And for Octopath, your save data from the demo will, of course, carry it into the full game when that releases on the 24th. So that's pretty cool. We got a new trailer for Bayonetta Origins, Cereza and the Lost Demon. I was kind of expecting maybe a demo for this to drop as well, but we didn't get that. We just got the new trailer that's coming March 17th. In a kind of cool move for 3DS fans, Etrian Odyssey Origins Collection is taking the first 3 games and bundling those for Nintendo Switch and PC on June 1st. So that's a pretty big get. A lot of kind of 3DS love in this one. We also got a new Fantasy Life game announced during this, which was really cool. So a lot of 3DS games kind of coming over to Switch now. This was a huge surprise for me. Samba de Amigo Party Central, coming summer 2023. Samba de Amigo hasn't had a new game since the Wii, I don't think. And so this makes me pretty happy. This is a cool little franchise from Sega. This is pretty cool. Omega Strikers, Court, I think this might speak to you, maybe.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we got a little free to play soccer air hockey sort of game. This looks like it's kind of fun. Maybe.
Oh yeah, like for me, if that's a family fun game, That I'm all for. That's pretty much what I use my Nintendo for. So like I was mentioned to you before we were recording this, I was just like, everybody came away going, this Nintendo Direct was awesome. And I came away going, wow, like I just finished Odyssey with my daughter and we finished Mario 3D World and she's getting into all these things. And I'm like, I looked at this and I was like, besides the Game Boy stuff, I'm like, none of this and the Disney, none of this I really can play with my kid. So like for me, I was like, this didn't really speak to me as much as it did to everybody else. But I know for the RPG fans and the indie fans out there, it's huge, especially Legend of Zelda. Like, let's be honest here. Like, I think we've all penciled that in as game of the year without it even being released. And any fantasy critic, everybody wants to take it first. So that's great. Metroid Prime Remastered, it's not for me, but I know Metroid has a huge following out there. It's just, for me, I just didn't get that coming away from it going, this is amazing, but I'm hoping for maybe a Mario game later down the road.
Yeah, me too. I was surprised that there was no Mario game, actually. I predicted a Mario game on the Nintendo Drive because I thought for sure they were going to want to have a new Mario game on shelves for the movie coming out.
I forgot. We did get Mario Kart, right?
We did.
We got new tracks with new characters, but at the same time, I almost think that's a cop-out at this point when they're just giving you more content for a game that came out when the system launched.
Yeah, and it does look great. The Mario Kart DLC does look great. And we broke down a lot of this in more detail on the Nintendo Drive, so I'll definitely have a link to that if you guys want to check that out. This Direct for me checked a lot of personal boxes for me. Games that I never thought that we were going to see on the Nintendo Switch were part of this Direct. Games like Ghost Trick Phantom Detective, which is my favorite Nintendo DS game, coming to Switch was wild to me. I still can't believe that that's real. Never thought that would come to Switch. The Bots and Kaidos collection is crazy. These are very, very obscure GameCube RPGs that are kind of cult classics. We Love Katamari Reroll that's a big deal for me. It's my favorite Katamari game. New Professor Layton. I mean, these are kind of like weird, underrated Nintendo games that are very near and dear to my heart, and they all got announced during this Direct. So I was eaten well during this Direct. I'm not going to lie to you, but it is, to your point, it is interesting that we didn't get too many first party announcements here. Like a lot of people were kind of scratching their heads looking for the Marios and stuff. So I can definitely see where you're coming from.
Yeah, and they did mention they kind of pulled an Xbox here. Nintendo kind of started this whole thing with how the Directs are done, but I think Xbox kind of perfected it, and Nintendo took a page out and was like, this is what you're getting in the next 6 months, or the day of the Direct for that matter. So I really like that. I've mentioned it before. I love how Xbox did that. And I'm hoping that PlayStation does the same, that, we save the Game Awards and the E3 type videos. That's when hey, here's what's coming out in the next couple of years. But anytime we get these Directs, it's like, here's what's coming out in the next little bit so you can prepare your wallet a little bit better. But that was the week that was. This was Carpool Weekly. We'll see you next week.
Bye-bye.